Like this.
Go ahead and give me your spin, P.
You brought up the consistency, and I think that discipline paired with self-discipline is most effective. But I believe that discipline or self-discipline paired with wisdom is most effective, right? Because if you got someone who is not wise calling himself being a disciplinarian, that's not productive for anyone. That's just anger, frustration. If you have people who their mindset is not where it needs to be, and they believe that discipline is, just anger and lashing out, then they'll consistently be tearing down themselves and anyone that they're allowed to extend that on. So I just wanted to say that, yeah, consistency of self-discipline, consistency of discipline paired with wisdom is most effective. And wisdom is an action, right? Being wise and putting wisdom into practice is an action. So whatever you do, pray for wisdom, aim for wisdom, and utilize that, because wisdom is successful. It is wisdom is undefeated. So be wise even when you have times where you find a weakness, even when times where you see a reflection of a habit that you may not like. Take that as an opportunity to learn from it. And when you learn from something, like we all know, that's wisdom. So always keep wisdom at the forefront of everything you do, even when you fall short of a goal, even when you make a mistake. Don't let it stay as a mistake. Learn from it, get better from it, whatever weakness it may have been, and put wisdom into action and be consistent with wisdom. That would be my spill on that.
That's a good thing. I have put it in a way where I said temptation versus revelation.
Yeah.
And I said the universe can deliver temptation and revelations. An example that I had was the universe or God, however you want to label it, can show you everything you want. And it'll also show you all the things wrong with it. Have you ever
Yeah.
have you ever seen something that you wanted so bad, but you see all the red flags going to get it? You see all
Hell
the red
yeah.
flags, but instead of stopping and taking heed to what all the red lights flashing like stop, go that way and all that, you keep going because you're like, man, I'm going to get that. And then when you
Yeah.
get it, it's a world full of trouble. Wasn't even
Yeah.
wasn't worth the salt. So you like, damn, why did I even go do this? Because
Yeah.
we ignore the signs, but God will show you what you want, and He'll show you what's wrong with it and let you make the decision. That's free will. You can make the decision if you want it or don't want it, but I'm gonna show you what it is and I'm gonna show you what it offers. And a lot of times we get so caught up. We get so caught up. I can't speak for everybody. I'm gonna say me. I get caught up in seeing something and wanting something. I had to
Yeah.
question myself the other day. This was a question. I know nobody's probably going to understand this, but I had to question myself. And I said to myself, self, you set a goal for yourself. I want this. I want this. But when you set a high mark for yourself, and you got to believe in yourself that I can obtain this. But
Yeah.
knowing that you have this in front of you, may be 60 feet tall, and you know that you can get up there because to you, you looking like, yeah, it's gonna be a tough uphill battle, but I can do it.
Yeah.
But instead of focusing and being disciplined and being consistent, you go and you say, "Well, I'm going up there, but I'm gonna make a pit stop right here. I'm gonna make a pit stop right here." And I had to come to myself, a realization, a self checking of myself of sorts, and say, "You can't expect high quality and keep settling for low value and low material. You can't expect high quality. You can't expect the best job and trying to get to, you can't expect to be the best at this occupation and keep settling for Burger King. You can't have the best woman and keep sleeping with women that's low value, or men that's low value. You know, not, you know what I mean. But
I got you.
yeah, so you can't keep doing, you can't keep setting your bar so high and then settling for the lesser values. When
Yeah,
you have a value, and if you really going to chase your dream and pursue your dream, your goal, if you really going to do that, if you really going to take the time and say, this is something I really want, because that's commitment, that's dedication, that's I'm putting on my pants and my boots, I'm strapping these things down, I'm gonna go for it. And when you put that level of commitment into something, that trumps everything, right? You say,
yeah,
God, shine the light for me and show me the way and let me take off. And when you do that, you have to be disciplined and say, I can control my emotions. I can control my feelings. I can control my hormones. I can control my mouth. I can control my temper. I can control, you can control the things that's controllable about you. The things that you have no control over, don't worry about. You can't control the uncontrollable. But take the things that you can control. Take the things that drives you and put them in full gear and go for what you want. But you have to be disciplined enough to say, hey, I'm a high value person. I'm a high value person. And I'm going to stop settling for low value things, because my vibration is going to exceed what any of this low vibration can withstand. And if I keep on dumbing down my high expectations and my energy and my growth and who I am, if I keep on turning this down and dumbing it down, my vibration, right, to vibe with something low vibrational, and I'm astronomically vibrating at a high vibration, I gotta distance myself and be
yeah,
disciplined and say, hey, let me leave the low vibrations alone. And that's not going to be easy, because a lot of times we be eagles and we be thinking we pigeons just to blend in. So you turn your vibration down when you need to turn it all the way up. So in doing that, some people are going to get away from you. Some things are going to leave. Some things are going to exit stage left. That's perfectly fine, because some things are not meant to hinder you, and some things are going to be a hindrance to you. If you stay around and keep doing low vibrational things, you're going to forget that you vibrating at a high frequency, and you're going to only remember muscle memory to vibrate at a low one. So
yeah,
get out that box.
yeah. And you know what? You can get so good at vibrating at a high frequency
Mm-hmm.
that low frequencies don't get an opportunity to affect you quite like they do the average individual.
Mm-hmm.
Because of your best practices and you being in practice of it, that how it affects the average individual, it doesn't quite have the same effect. It's not a kryptonite for you. You have a force field
Mm-hmm.
because of not only temporarily operating at a high frequency, it's a permanent
Right.
space for you. You know what I mean? It's not a temporary up and down thing, it's a permanent thing. And you've mastered it. Like when we was talking about the last dragon and he finally, who's the master? You are. Well, when you realize that you're the master of that glow, then people won't be able to take that frequency away, even if they tried their damnedest. Um, you were saying a lot of things, and as you were saying it, I was paraphrasing some of it so that it hit home.
Mm-hmm.
Um, a lot of times it's easier to settle, easier to do nothing, and people don't like to be alone. So you were talking about, and this is in reference when you're talking about going here, and people will
Mm-hmm.
settle and come back here or stop here and settle. Sometimes what I notice is people is in such a rush to be with somebody else or have somebody else's opinion or have somebody involved in their life. There's such a rush and a need for a companion of some sort, or companionship, or somebody else's thoughts and somebody else's energy, that instead of focusing on their energy and being alone with themselves to build themselves up, they continue to make pit stops to allow other people's energy because they're really afraid to be alone. You can't be afraid to be alone and expect to grow. In order to grow, you might have to be alone. In order to grow to the best version of yourself, you are probably going to have to do it alone. And when I say alone, I mean without people, without a person cheering you on, without a person giving you good advice, without a person giving you input, without a person giving you support, without a person saying, I see you, without a person doing anything, and without you even welcoming a person to do so. You are going to have to do a lot of it alone. And when you're willing to do it alone, you'll become addicted to improving yourself alone. And you'll start to master how to improve yourself by yourself, for yourself, and realize that nobody else really matters. And that makes you the most mentally powerful person in every room you step into. Now, when I say the most mentally powerful person in the room, I say that often. I think people think about like, it means it has something to do with other people. Not necessarily. What I mean when I say being the most mentally powerful person when you step in any room, what I mean is that you are in control of you. You can't be what it's called when people try to influence people to do stuff like they what is it called?
Influencer.
Influence. You know what I mean? They be like, "Oh, you boring. You ain't go drink. Go ahead and drink. Oh, you don't eat this. Go ahead and
When
eat
my
that."
folks told me that's called gaslighting.
Oh, okay. I heard that before. I don't know what the hell it was. But when people try to, push people to do stuff, it's called what is it called? What they used to say when you was a kid? It's called
Egging them on and gassing them up.
God dang it, it's
Instigating.
called instigating, but it's also called God dang it, I'm drawing a blank on it. But anyway, the word that I'm looking for, and I'm sure y'all yelling it at the screen right now. But anyway, when people try to
bully you,
God, no,
persuade you.
What's the word when it like if me and all my friends is trying to get you to do something and telling you
Peer
you better do
pressure.
it, peer pressure. Don't people try to peer pressure people into things. So when I say being the most mentally powerful person in the room, saying it's okay to be who you are and who you're working to be and who you work to become, even if nobody else supports it, when you're in a room filled with individuals who think differently or think differently of you, you don't have to be weakened by that because you are operating like you were talking about on that high vibration that you've mastered. And so being the most mentally strong person in the room, you can be in any room with anybody doing anything, but it won't change how you do what you do just because you are in that room. That's a real sign of power. And that's what I mean by that. Self-control, you was talking about controlling yourself. Self-control, like self-discipline, is a best practice. So being able to control yourself when you are faced with certain energies and emotions, how you respond, you can control that. You were talking about a person can control their mouth, they can control their actions, they can control when you were given that list of things that you can control. Well,
right.
To put that in a nutshell, that would be self-control.
Right.
Practicing self-control and how you respond to things and not just always react in a certain way or how you were taught to react or how you grew up reacting. That is a best practice that people can definitely put into practice. And it's a discipline as well. So those were a couple of things that you touched on. I just wanted to put them into a nutshell. Uh,
There was some good little trinkets right there, really.
yeah, for real. And I don't let this one go over your head. It's easier to settle and easier to do nothing, and people don't want to be alone. So it's easier to do absolutely nothing. That's why a lot of people don't get in shape, because it's easier to be out of shape with just sitting there. Getting out of shape requires you to do absolutely nothing. Getting in shape requires you to do something. Well, that's just like getting your money in shape or getting your relationship in shape. It requires people to do something. And a lot of people are just lazy and accustomed to doing nothing. They just lazy at the root of it. And so it's easier to settle than it is to work for something until you switch your mindset, and settling is not easy because it don't sit well with you.
And top of that, peer, you can't let people peer pressure you. Like I like how you use that word and brought that back.
Peer pressure.
You can't let people pressure you
Yeah.
into doing something that you're not comfortable with, no matter what phase or what it pertains to. Don't let nobody peer pressure you, because a lot of times people will force. They can do a gentle force, they can do a force, they can do a subliminal force, but they can force their ways and their motives onto you
Yes.
in a persuasion way that you don't even know you're being persuaded. Just like we say with playing chess, we force you to think that you can be forced to think the way somebody wants you to think, and you think you're making a cognitive decision on your own, but really you already been manipulated. So once you do that, then you don't even realize that you're playing into their strengths. So don't get peer pressured into nobody else. Whatever amount of time you need to take to become you, the best version of you, whatever
Take that
time it
time.
takes, take it, because it's your life. When you leave here, you're done. While you're here, you're going to do it the way you want to do it. A lot of times, what we do, and what I've been guilty of, doing it the way somebody else wants me to do it, trying to live up to somebody else's standards, trying to live up to somebody else's hype. And the thing is, it's hard as hell to come from under somebody's thumb
Yeah.
and remember who you are, or if you don't know
Yeah.
who you are, to become who you're going to be.
Go learn who
And
you
so
are. Yeah.